In my 34
Excuse me,
years,
Mr.
I've never
Homan, the time
seen
has
such
expired.
hate toward a law enforcement agency in my life that you want to abolish
Homan,
them
the time
rather
has
doing your
expired.
job and
Mr.
legislate.
Homan, your
if
time
they don't
has
like it,
expired.
legislate. You can't. I
Mr.
don't think
Homan,
Congress
according
is
to
in
the
the
rules of
habit
this committee-
of enacting laws.
Mr. Homan,
they
your
want to
time
enforce.
is expired.
Watching Thomas Homan stare down that committee as members smear ICE was pure fire. Hearing him unload decades of experience, calling out their lies, exposing the real numbers, and defending the men and women risking their lives, that moment was explosive. When he snapped back at the accusation that he was appalling, the entire room shifted. This showdown wasn't just testimony, it was a demolition.
ICE doesn't put their heart on a shelf when they wear the badge and gun. All of a sudden, don't care about humanity. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous false narrative, and I'm going to be here to the day I die to defend the men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE who put it on the line every day for this country.
Thank you.
Protected. I'd also like to apologize to you both for the behavior of some of the members of this committee, where they are speaking in profoundly dehumanizing terms to you, and you don't deserve that. I'd like to apologize to you on behalf of the United States of America.
Would you like to address, and would you please address any of the
Yeah, I want to
statements made
address the
against
last comments made about me being appalling. And first of all, I served my country for 34 years. I saved many lives, and I ran an agency. Let's be frank in what ICE does. ICE last year took a season of opioids off the streets of this country that could have killed every man, woman, and child in the United States twice. They've arrested thousands of sexual predators that preyed on children. They rescued thousands of children who were victims of predators. They arrested hundreds of women who were victims of sex trafficking. I am proud of the agency and ICE. And what we don't want to talk about is nearly 90% of everybody ICE arrests for immigration violations either have a criminal history or are pending criminal charges when they were found. I mean, they were found in a county jail, which most likely means they weren't a choir boy. So to mismessage what the work the men and women of ICE do is, I find appalling that a member of Congress would throw that out there like that. In my 34 years, I've never seen such hate toward a law enforcement agency in my life that you want to abolish
Homan,
them
the time
rather
has
doing your
expired.
job and
Mr.
legislate.
Homan, your
if
time
they don't
has
like
expired.
it, legislate. You can't. I don't
Mr.
think
Homan,
Congress
according
is
to
in
the
the
rules of
habit
this committee-
of enacting laws.
Mr.
who
Homan,
they
your
want to
time
enforce.
is expired. Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Nothing hits harder than watching Thomas Homan sit in front of Congress and absolutely unload on the people attacking ICE. The man spent 34 years saving lives, rescuing children, taking criminals off the streets, and he still has to sit there while politicians who've never worn a badge pretend he's the villain. The level of disrespect he faced was unreal, and the way he fired back proved exactly why so many Americans respect him. The moment he leaned forward and said he'd never seen such hate toward law enforcement was brutal because it was true. These committee members weren't asking questions. They were sneering at the very people they expect to protect their communities. They were pushing the same tired narrative that ICE is heartless, that enforcing the law is somehow oppression, and that criminals crossing the border deserve more sympathy than the victims they leave behind. And Homan didn't let it slide for a single second. Listening to him list what ICE actually did just last year was devastating for the critics. Enough opioids seized to kill every American twice. Thousands of sexual predators locked up. Thousands of trafficked children rescued. Hundreds of women freed from sex traffickers. That's not cruelty. That's heroism. And the people attacking him couldn't argue with the statistics because those numbers speak louder than any scripted political performance ever could. Then came the line that changed the entire energy of the room. Nearly 90% of everyone ICE arrests for immigration violations has a criminal history or pending charges. That one fact destroyed half the rhetoric being thrown at him. These aren't innocent families skipping across a meadow. These are people coming directly out of county jails. But the critics, they didn't want to talk about that. They wanted a soundbite. Homan gave them reality, and when he was called appalling, his response was legendary. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He simply laid out what he'd done for his country. 34 years, thousands of lives saved, agencies run, children rescued, and then made it clear that anyone calling that work appalling is the real problem. That moment exposed everything wrong with the political attacks on law enforcement. Emotion over facts, outrage over truth, and disdain for the people doing the hardest jobs in this country. The back and forth over family separation only made the critics look worse. Homan explained clearly that separation happens every day in law enforcement. Domestic violence arrests, DUIs, criminal charges. That's how the law works. It wasn't cruelty, it was a consequence of illegal actions. And when he reminded them that entering the country illegally is a violation of federal law, 8 U.S. Code 1325, the room went dead quiet because they knew he was right. This entire hearing turned into a showcase of what happens when an actual expert, someone who's lived the job and paid the price, goes up against people who only know talking points. Homan didn't just defend ICE. He exposed the hypocrisy, dismantled the narratives, and reminded the country why law enforcement deserves respect, not demonization.